At the moment then, our app is a slightly lonely place. We've only got Homer in there, and there's no one for him to look for to get in touch with. So we need to populate our app with a number of users. And as I say, we could do that a boring way of just downloading images and uploading them to Parse Server, etc. But I want to use this as an example to show you how you can use code to take laborious or long-winded tasks and automate them to make them a lot quicker and, with any luck, a bit more fun. So we're going to go over to our user details view controller, and we're going to find our viewDidLoad method, and we're going to write some code in there which will download some images and create some users for us. So first off, let's jump over to Google Images and get some images. So I'm going to search for female cartoon characters. There we go. So let's get those images. If we click on those, that should give us the full image. So we'll make a nice selection there. Then let's find some more. Oops, there we go. View image. Okay, that's several, and I do feel we should have Marge in there as well. Wonderful. Okay, so a fine selection there. So I'm going to actually now set this as a challenge. You've got some URLs, and you can of course use any images you like. I want you to automatically download the images at those URLs and then create new users with them for our app. Go for it. Okay, hope you managed it. I'm going to start by creating an array of URLs where I'll store all my URLs. It's worth saying again that if you're going to use an app and put it on the App Store, then you should be very careful about the images that you're using. Make sure that you have the rights to do so. But if you're just making an educational project, you don't need to be quite so fastidious. Check as well that you have access to these URLs. The default option for this sample app is to allow all URLs. So if you've got that setting, then you should be fine. Okay, so then we're just going to loop through this array. And get all those images. I'm actually going to show you a slightly different way to what we've done before, just because it's always good to see new ways of doing things. So we create a URL. I'm actually going to call that a URL string, because we're then going to convert it into a URL from that string. I know that's going to work for all of these because they're all valid URLs. And then we can use a command called data to get the contents of those URLs, or the data for those images. So we can use contents of URL, and the URL is of course just URL. And that has to sit in a do and catch so it could not get data for some reason. Then we pop a try in there. So once we've got the data, we can create an image file, which is going to be a PF file based on that data. And now we can create our new user. So let's create our user as a PF user. And we'll set the user photo to equal image file. We'll set the username to be equal to, now we'd like them to have unique usernames, but I don't really want to go through and name them all. So I'm just going to create a counter variable, which is initially 0, and we'll add 1 to it each time we loop through, and then the username will just be the counter. That will have to be converted to a string, of course. There we go. Then we need a password for them all. So I'll just use password. And then I'll just make sure I spell these right. So is interested in women. So I'll put false here, because we want these to be all interested in men so that they appear for Homer. And then is female, we want to be true. And we also want the ACL setting to be correct. So I'm just going to copy that code over. Not that we're likely to need to update them, but just in case. And then we can just use user.signup, and I'll go for sign up in background with block. With success and error. And then I'll just have a success. User signed up. There we go. Now you might argue that that possibly took longer than doing it manually. I'm not sure whether it did or not. It would have taken a fair while to download and upload all of those. But of course what we have here is much more powerful than doing it manually, because now if I wanted to add 100 new users, I could do that straight away with our script that we've got here. So I think it's always fun to think about how we can use code to automate things that we need to do regularly. And quite often there are ways that you can write a little script to make your life just that little bit easier. Okay, we've had a couple of user signed up flashes at the bottom there. So let's have a refresh. There we go. So we're looking good. So they've got the right ACLs. We've got the right usernames. Not sure why we don't have a username for number 1, but that's not a major problem. And they've all got the right values there. Let's just check one of the photos. We might have a small problem there. Just because I didn't give the PF file a name. So let's create a PF file with a name and some data. So photo.png and data. I actually don't think that would have been an issue in the app, but it's good to have objects with the right properties anyway. So let's just delete those rows. And then we should get some new ones. Added in soon enough. So there we go. They're getting added gradually, and now the photo is viewable. Excellent. There we go. So they're getting added one by one. And we're now able to add the important swiping features because we have some users to work with. So that's, of course, what we'll be doing in the next video.